Hi, I'm Ashley Fuller. I am a gynecologist and clinical researcher and vaccine researcher, and I work at Seattle Clinical Research Center. So CMV is cytomegalovirus. It's a very, very common virus that most people have never heard of. It's a virus that most of us get at some point of in our lives. In fact, 1 in 3 kids have had cytomegalovirus by the time they reach age 5. And about half of people age 40 have been infected with cytomegalovirus. So it's very, very common. So the symptoms of CMV can be absolutely nothing. Some people have infections and actually are completely asymptomatic and don't even know they have it. In fact, that's the most common thing. But some people do get symptoms, and usually it's fever, sore throat, fatigue, swollen lymph nodes. If people are immunocompromised for whatever reason, like transplant patients or on immunosuppressives, they could get more sick from it and could actually get somewhat ill from it. Who gets CMV? Everyone gets CMV for the most part. There's no vaccine for it at this point, so it tends to spread pretty quickly through saliva, through breast milk. So it's something that it can easily be spread, especially by young children. So one of the things we worry about is that people who are around small children can be easily infected because kids are often carriers of it, even for weeks after they have been sick from it. And so this is particularly worrisome in our pregnant moms who have younger children or are around children, because the big worry about CMV is actually about how it affects unborn children or the fetus for pregnant moms. So while for most of us CMV is not a worry, for people who are pregnant, if they get infected with CMV for the first time during their pregnancy, it can affect the pregnancy. It can affect the baby. So babies who get infected with CMV can develop lifelong problems like deafness, vision issues, small head called microcephaly, seizures, and developmental delay. Not all moms who get infected during pregnancy will have a baby who has problems. They estimate that about 1 in 200 deliveries or babies that are born are infected or have been infected with CMV. About 1 in 5 of those will have some of those long-term disabilities. It is a very devastating diagnosis to be diagnosed during pregnancy with CMV because there's not a lot that we can do, and some babies will get drastically ill from it, and we don't have really a way to stop that from happening. How do you know if you have CMV? The truth is, you probably won't know, and although we do have tests to see if people have been exposed to CMV in the past, they're not tests we routinely do. A test can't predict whether someone's going to get it in the near future, how sick they will be, or if a pregnant woman will pass it on to their baby. It's not a routine test that we do in pregnancy or before pregnancy. CMV spreads, as I mentioned, through saliva, through bodily fluids, so through sex also. But one of the biggest ways that we see CMV spread is through children, through sharing plates, sharing utensils, sharing food with small children. So it's recommended that moms and parents don't do that, especially for pregnant moms, and that we work really hard on our hand washing and hand hygiene. So an mRNA vaccine is a vaccine that encodes for a protein that is taken up by a cell in the arm, and that cell actually transcribes that protein and puts it on the outside of its cell. It is a specific target that is usually somewhere found uniquely on the virus of interest. So once it's put on the outside of the cell, the immune system of the body recognizes it as a foreign invader and kills that cell. That's why your arm gets so sore after a vaccine. Once that happens, the immune cell will tell its friends, hey, if you see this same protein again, we should kill it. It's not supposed to be here. And so that's how it creates immunity. The mRNA SNP that is in the vaccine that goes in the cell never stays in the cell. It never gets encoded into the cell, the DNA of the cell, and it is chewed up after it's into the arm. There are several companies that are working toward a vaccine for CMV. while most of us don't get very sick from it, it still is one of the leading causes of congenital deafness. And that is one of the reasons that we're working toward trying to get a vaccine to help prevent some of these congenital problems that affect some newborn babies. If you're interested in getting more involved in vaccine studies where we're testing and evaluating for efficacy and safety, you can contact us here at Seattle Clinical Research Center or our sister clinic, which is Rainier Clinical Research Center.